So, firstly, who was Socrates? So, born in the 5th century BCE in ancient Athens, so around 450 years or so before Christ. I've already said he didn't write text. He just questioned everyone. Basically, he just walked around Athens, basically seeming to ask everyone, "Why are you doing that?" So he was absolutely someone who believed that we must stop and think. He thought that everyone around him was just doing stuff because that was the way they'd always done it, or because their parents did it, or because their friends did it, or their neighbors did it. And he thought their beliefs as well, what they thought justice was, he thought people didn't question that. He thought they just followed what other people thought it was. So he went around really interrogating people and saying, well, why do you believe that? Give me some reasons. Are they good reasons? Um, and we have records of some of the conversations. Obviously, some of them might be a bit invented, but his student sort of dramatizes some of these conversations normally as dialogues. Socrates as a character questioning other people. So, as I've said, Socrates likes to question why people do stuff. And he has this quote when actually later on, towards the end of his life, when he's on trial, and the people of Athens say to him, well, why can't you just stop doing this? Why do you have to annoy everyone? And they specifically thought he was corrupting the youth of Athens by questioning Athenian norms and rules. They thought he was a real threat to their society. And they said, why don't you just stop? And he said, the unexamined life is not worth living. I.e., for him, there's no point living a life in which you don't question why you do things or why you believe things or whether you should do things. He would say there's no point in living a life where you just buy a laptop because everyone else does, for instance. And then more specifically, what he says when they say, well, why don't you just go and live somewhere else? We'll let you go to a foreign city, Sparta or wherever, and you can just live there and keep a low profile. And he says that would disobey a god, because essentially what happened was a god told Socrates' friend that Socrates was the wisest man in the world, and Socrates therefore saw it as a divine command for him to go around and see if anyone was wiser than him. And if anyone understood what virtue was, or living a good life, anyone better than him, because he thought that being happy was to be virtuous. The most important thing in life was to be virtuous, basically to be a good person, a morally good person. And he wanted to work out what that was, what the good was, what it meant to be good.